Whoa, 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 hey!
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? I spent good time on that!
Where is the meat puppet video, you depressed pile of shit folk?
Give me that!
Oh, oh. Where is the meat puppet video?
Now I gotta pull this thing out.
Let's try this.
Where is the meat puppet video?
What?
Where is the meat puppet video?
Look, it'll be done when it's done, okay? You try playing a game with board controls and sporadic movement on an isometric shit show. So, in the meantime, in between getting footage for that game, I've taken some time to venture out and seek something different. Something I can do on a whim. A game that I can cover pretty easily, but is something not talked about as much. A little hard to find when the world is your oyster and there's always ideas around the corner. Because, as someone who has way too many things to do at the same time, and often struggles to finish them, that's usually what you should do. After watching Kappa Dance's Iceberg on surreal games, and the variety there is to try, something caught my eye. Something colorful, simple, and geometric. Kinda like those obnoxious YouTube thumbnails you keep seeing all over the place.
Yeah, real fucking smart, Amos. You haven't even started and already compared someone's indie game to getting cancer.
But, and it's a big, fuckable but, it's neither obnoxious nor is it a thumbnail. It's a game. A really strange game, in a way that I wasn't expecting. I had no idea what I was getting into, as this was an impulse purchase and I would say I was going in blind. No Love is described as a hard sci-fi fantasy surreal hand-drawn game made in RPG Maker, where it explores topics in relation to the human condition, touching on themes of loneliness, everyday life, sex, religion, friendship, gay shit,
faggot shit,
the works. With just about almost everything in this game, apart from the plugins, music, Patreon supporters, being done by one guy, Wallace Lovecraft. Whatever you see here, a majority is his own doing, taking at least 3 to 4 years of development. And the fact that it comes all together to create a really solid game with a unique world to speak of, that feat is at least worthy of any praise, and this game should be sitting alongside some of the greats within that field. This looks to be his first entry into the video game scene, and since then, Wallace has been building up his catalog, improving with every step he's taken. Or simply fucking about. The fellow's got a YouTube channel too, showing the behind the scenes of his games. Now, given that it's a game with a very general name that is also made by one person and released fairly recently, there isn't a lot of coverage on this game. I don't mean development-wise because Wallace did a really good job documenting the timeline for this game. I mean in terms of gameplay. As of when I'm writing this script, there's really not a lot of footage of this game out there, par a couple trailers and one guy playing the demo.
The place that I worked for wasn't the kind of place anyone would want to stick around for too long. A year tops. Look at this shit. It's a joke. It's equivalent to a thin piece of paper.
As a result, there's not much of a guide or a reference to fall back to. I wasn't lying when I said I was doing this blind, which just means I would be missing out on some elements and going back to rectify that. Because this game requires you to pay attention to detail if you got any hopes of progressing through. That, and I'm also pretty fucking retarded. But honestly, it's a nice, good quality, engrossing game, so I can't be that mad. With the Steam version, its executable being borked, I gotta go into the files and start it up from there. Or you can just get it on your as well. I don't know, it's this thing. Oh god, not Leviathan! We We start with our character waking up outside of his hometown, remembering why he fucking hates it. And based on first impressions, our main character here has been going to those weird parties Reverend Michael Shane always threw.
Oh, I believe the man is in pain. That's where the belief ends, but I believe the man is struggling.
We play as Aggro, who for a majority of the game, I kept on calling Argo, as in Fargo, where the world is made of cocaine and everyone is a nanogram away from fucking tweaking. Not having a clue what the fuck was going on in the intro, Aggro makes his way back to town, to where we get introduced to more of Aggro's characterization, which is that he is something of a 20-something college graduate, living within a mediocre city full of socially inept basket cases, sexual deviants, or people you just straight up hate, inside of a depressingly small room, suffering a Tumblr list of mental problems, desperately trying to build up enough money to leave, wanting to escape the nutshell of everyday life by venturing out, hoping to find a new sense of purpose, not wanting to deal with the world, physically or mentally, whilst being lonely as fuck. And I can prove it too. You can pick flowers in this game. Every time you pick, Aggro produces a comment, as if he were talking to the flower. Same with rocks. He always has something to say about them, such as their color, their beauty, their size, or just straight up intrusive shit. So already, Aggro here is more relatable and sympathetic compared to whatever the mainstream is trying to pull off.
Knock, knock, my politically incorrect racial epithets.
And whilst this feels like Wallace Lovecraft just wanted to exercise more dialogue, each message is always different from the last. Plus, picking flowers here is essential, as later on the flowers can be sold for a decent amount of money, when you find the merchants. And even within the hometown, there's a ghost that feeds you some tips as long as you feed them some flowers. Some of these tips are pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't do too much right now. Not like it tells you where to go or what to do. It's not really there to hold your hand. Yet. So do the smart thing and rob a flower field, stock up, and sell to make extra cash. Here in the town of Hani, which is a name you only hear later on, they don't say anything about it in the beginning, everybody here is destined to a vicious life cycle of work, eat, and sleep. And only through brief conversations, you get a glimpse of how everyone operates. I'll go into more details about the dialogue later down the line, but what I'll say here is that the writing is really special, not only giving Aggro but everyone within this town a sense of uniqueness and character. And I'm not talking about the names. Wallace Lovecraft has given a lot of thought for how he wants the interactions to go. Just like this world, they can be pretty normal, only for some to come out of left field and actually got a chuckle out of me because it was so unexpected. I think it's worth it talking to the citizens, not just for more info, but to see what they're going to say next.
Hey, what's your name?
Anne.
Ann?
Yep.
You got some camel toe, Ann. You can probably pick up a pencil with that thing. Look at your chest. You look like a rotisserie chicken. Your nipples look like bologna.
You might meet someone fairly normal, or you'll come across those who operate in another fucking dimension compared to you. In some ways, each random nobody has their own personality to make them stick out much more. It makes the world building feel much more alive, but also hinting that the world here is secretly dysfunctional and unpleasant. You can even sleep in other people's beds too. As well, in every town, there's someone who will be asking for your help. In Hani, there's 3 people. Autumn, who needs help to jumpstart her flower garden, in which you just give a flower to her and she'll be satisfied. Ed, who's been blasting his hard collection of records so loudly that one of his neighbors, Kyle, took the day off just to smash his record player and can't afford another one. To help him, we gotta go into every house that's available anyways, not only to fish out some goodies that will be useful down the line and talk some more with the locals, but to also find some lockpicks to get into Kyle's place, but no taking money, because even the neighbors don't have any.
Oh,
It smells like porn here.
Break into Kyle's place, eat his food, drink his milk, steal a gold bar that he just has, must have made a heavy withdrawal, and go back to Ed's place and give him the piece. I just found out about this in my second run of this game. You can actually help Paul by finding his around the town and even back in that patch of grass before town. There's these subtle textures to signify holes, and you can find them almost everywhere. You dig into them, you can get some clothing, health, a hat worth 2 refined on the TF2 market, and a...
That looks like a dildo.
Hey, Paul? At least we will be safe on the journey. Also, in Agro's house, there's this note in his drawer. That noise must have meant something, I just don't know what happened, and I can't find it. Tell me that noise opened up something. The reason for this? Well, for leveling up and preparation. Usually a good sign as you'll at least be ready for whatever fight comes your way. Not a surprise, given this is made in RPG Maker. We're told that there's someone at the edge of town, a visitor picking up strangers to take on adventures, and Agro thinks, yeah, you know what, I need this shit. Sign me the fuck up, take me to Tahoe or whatever. We talk to Mundo, the guy who's been recruiting new members, and it'll only be $100 for the whole trek to begin. Get the $100 from your pet gummy worm. If there is more things around town you want to see, which isn't much, I hope you have a better eye than me, and saving is definitely going to be required. There will be times that you'll need to do that, as cutscenes would take you straight into a battle or into an area before the battle, or just fucking anywhere. And this game does have a lot of long cutscenes. Don't get me wrong, they are well drawn, like I'm flipping through a comic book. If anything, it just makes me wish for this to be an Adult Swim animation. Obviously, it's here for more storytelling, lore, and to make transitioning from one level to another feel more natural. But it does make the game feel a bit slow to me, and you'll see why later on. Upon joining, we catch the attention of... somebody. As we depart Hano Town into areas unknown. But along the way, we're jumped by some bandits. Mundo tells everyone to fucking keep calm and carry on, I guess. In the meantime, we can talk to some of the passengers. We got a mother and her kids scared shitless, a couple on a really weird honeymoon, and Andrew, who at this point in his life ain't feeling romantical. Finally, we meet the one who's been eyeing us ever since we joined. Meet David. He's going to be our new party member. Mundo tries to negotiate, but it doesn't work out, leading to a death so grisly it makes Harvester look like a kid's game. The bus crashes, but David has been backing up our ass while we were knocked out cold. Here we scour the crash site, even getting a detailed autopsy for every passenger. Well, damn, I didn't know it could stretch that big. It turns out that the mother survived, even if it's just barely, and she needs to find her kid. So, out of the elements of goodwill, we help her out. We find her kid, dead. Hey, at least he didn't go out like Andrew did. Unfortunately, the mother cocks out before we're able to break the bad news. There, you get more XP. Well, you know, every little helps. Before saving and meeting the bandits that killed our ride. We meet Banda, aka Bitch-ass, aka Longschlong Johnson, who greets us by slapping aggro with his penis and performing the meat spin. An anaconda so big to even make black men feel insecure. Yeah, I feel the same way. Apart from the sudden game of Scrabble, we're challenged to a fight. If he wins, we're supposed to give him some gay-ass French kiss, but we'll be dead, so he's gonna be doing some unceremonious shit pretty quickly. But if we win, we'll be set free, presumably after killing him, and his trusty sidekick and latte-sipping fuckboy, Bootlicka. And with a setting like this, the bandits speaking French, and my heckling of post-battle necrophilia confirmed, it makes me to believe that all this takes place within a psychedelic Quebec.
Smell like bitch in here. All y'all smell like bitch to me. I was sucking my daddy when I was 7 years old.
Now, I'ma lay this down here real quick. As much as I always applaud the creativity and unique feel of any RPG Maker game that dares to try, I admit, I fucking suck at RPG fights. It needs you to read what action you're doing, and manage your party while someone repeatedly beats them down, whilst feeling like you couldn't take on a housefly if you tried, let alone a random thug. I was just using up magic like no tomorrow, thinking it was the most powerful shit on the planet. Since I didn't read the fine print on what does what, I ended up falling harder than a boozed up lawyer. And this isn't the only RPG Maker game where I was guilty of this. I was like this with the first Hilux game when I played it a while back, because similar to No Love, I didn't know what I was getting into.
Man, shut your...
I died a lot at this first fight, not realizing how important helping others can help you succeed. AKA, I forgot Ed existed, and I couldn't give a shit about Paul. Then I started a new game, made sure I exhausted all the options of more XP, and then save and do the fight. If you had to do repeats of fights like yours truly, you would have to spam click the cutscene away until you reach the end. Which, because I've seen them before and they're pretty long, get ready to hear some intense clicking. Man, I don't want no fruity Minecraft cheeks! Since there's no service and no one's got a fucking map, our duo made camp in the desert, where David decides to stick around for the journey, and we get more of aggro being relatable.
Spaceships are flying.
I think a lot of modern writers often put the occupation in jeopardy by writing stories, characters, films, TV shows, or just about anything that comes off as abrasive, self-indulgent, and artificial, that it feels like parody. No Love doesn't do that. Well, maybe once or twice. The whole story of the game is simple, but the writing is done with some level of nuance, humor, timing, and for God's sakes thought, that it feels like we're part of this character's journey, rather than just being told of the character's journey. I can stand back and sympathize with the main character. Do you hear my words, Vivse Modello? Do you know what these things are? Timing, humor, fucking thought!
Well, you come.
Oh, yes.
Even though I would admit at times it feels very rambly, especially during the intermissions, which I'll come back to later. The next day we come across a new city, and two other dudes coming from Coachella, forgetting where they parked. Tony and Gabe. And what a fucking introduction. We meet those two whilst in the middle of one of them shitting. These are our next two party members, by the way. Getting a whiff of the desert, it already tells us we're past the point of safe and familiar. Rocks and debris scattered about, the graves of babies taking up pockets of land, more flowers to pick, Tony being a fucking nerd. And a statue of a couple, minus a head, the female's head being back at the crash site. I dig the environmental storytelling here. We're allowed to learn more about the world this game is set in, and yet it's still vague enough to leave you wondering what is going on. Upon arriving at the gate, we meet Ellie, a gorgeous set of shapes that gets aggro drooling out an ocean. Whew! Knees weak, arms are heavy, I just met a cute girl from another town already. I'm vomiting confetti. But Gabe decides to jump the gun, letting Aggro give off a face like he wanna roll up Gabe like he's made of foreskin. And she joins our party as well, to get away from her village, which I cannot find the name of. Not like it matters too much. Everyone here is just as, if not more unhinged as the folks back in Hanotown. except they're rather religious. Going into every house, you can ransack everyone of their firewood for some extra cash. Get some items to help you in battle, pick some flowers, and make small talk with the shopkeeper. I was trying to figure out what to buy, and this is what I did, but it might not be ideal to everyone. As mentioned previously, in every village with a shopkeep and running plumbing, there's always going to be that one person you talk to, who would just go on and on about whatever character trait they got. Abnormal gossip, talking about the pros and cons of MK Ultra, only to be closed off with, "Could you do me a solid and get this shit for me?" This is a sign that we have to go to a certain spot, get into fights, and get the items that they are asking for more XP and possibly more good karma. These spots are just outside of the villages. Like before, there are also little queues scattered throughout the outskirts and the village, where you can dig to get some shit, some new gear. Who the fuck has $10 and goes, can't wait for my money tree to grow. And I have no idea what to do with this hand. I know it goes somewhere, I just don't know what. On my first run of this, nothing happened. Primarily because I was in the wrong fucking spot. On my second go, given that it's an RPG, you can get jumped by anything out there at any given time. You could be doing donuts for a bit, or it could happen instantaneously. And sometimes you don't get what you want after winning a fight, but you don't have to grind too much. After 2 to 3 battles, I got what I wanted. Whilst these are pretty optional side quests, it does encourage you to go explore the world to get new items, and at least do them if you want to. Some people in this village don't like the forest because it keeps getting closer, and some guy called Connor tried to go in there as an effort of bravery. And one of the residents described to me what kind of movie Wes Craven would have made if he was still alive. So you can take a guess where we're gonna go. But before we do, we gotta pay a visit to the desert leader. And it seems Connor's little trip has caused some concern. So they got this hard ass called Arthur to take care of it, and don't want us to be involved. Aggro offers to help. He's denied. Ellie defends Aggro. Aggro starts picturing his fanfiction. Gabe gets roasted. And Arthur turns away, venturing into the forest to defend the village. But since we're going there anyways, we might as well go after him. Ellie says goodbye to her dad, rather quickly. It was about time we got out of Dodge. Pop a save, then enter. We make camp, and we learn a lot more during this intermission. Tony and Gabe are from a place called Square Onyx, where they make games or something. Ellie only joined the group because they got good vibes, and that she just wanted to get out of her village. Gabe's a defensive little shit because he was used by people when he was really nice. Ellie talking about her parents. Aggro starts to warm himself up to Ellie. You know, starting simple and grounded, but then drifts off into whatever impulsive thought comes up. Getting a showcase of Ellie's more religious side. And Aggro beating himself up. Gross simplification, I know, but it's the only way I can distill all the information that's been given here into something more compact. As I mentioned before, the quality of the writing is really good, and that's because it feels human at points, and I cannot stress that enough. I don't think you'll be able to find this kind of fun dialogue anywhere else, lest that be an anal cunt song. At its best, it's engaging and it can lead into some great moments. At its worst, it tries to cram in so much that it takes me out of the world, making some of the dialogue, and in turn, some of the moments, feel slow and bloated. And whilst it has points that it wants to make, with little injections of touchy subjects here and there, that's something that they tell you at the beginning. Hope you know how to read. It's there. But it's not irresponsible, because it's naturally woven into the world. It feels like it's part of the world building rather than it being the world itself. I don't want to sound like someone who hates reading. I mean, I fucking do writing as a hobby and I can pull a good read if it's a good book. And I can dig a visual novel every once in a while. And I'm not going to hold a lot against Wallace Lovecraft, or Wally, for this. I would have made the same mistakes if I was in his spot. In fact, I am stuck. It doesn't necessarily upset, irritate, or bore me, it just kinda starts to lose me. But with that being said, the intermissions, the quiet moments when nothing is happening, they are the best spots for this kind of long dialogue. I do appreciate Wally formatting the conversations, or at least trying to be more natural, and not put them down every few seconds or stopping the plot to recite a post from r/atheism. The next morning, Gabe goes off to fight the darkness himself, as we find Arthur. Not even 1 minute and Gabe is already a liability. So for a limited time only, you get Arthur as a party member. This is honestly one of the easiest battles in this game. I really don't have much here. Well, okay, if you want me to do a eulogy for Gabe, he hasn't made much of an impression for me, apart from being a cocky little freak. He got the Walking Dead treatment. Get introduced, get some development, and he dies. He did get roasted, and I thought that was pretty funny. Arthur, you were shit. We bury him, Arthur leaves, and Tony insists that we go after darkness, so that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. A new objective, apart from the aimless wandering and getting into fights with the local wildlife. But not long after, Aggro's gone back to vomiting diamonds. God damn it, I thought we were past this! Honestly, whatever you choose, you're getting the same result. He closes this bit with him talking about his girl troubles.
Here we go again with this story.
As per usual, where there's a long field, there will be holes to dig, goodies to get, and enemies to fight, which in all honesty, it makes for some pretty good practice. I'm not saying much about the combat in terms of functionality. It works as it should, but one of the best bits of an RPG Maker game, or hell even some of the older RPG games, is the presentation of it. How different or how creative can the maker go with putting much of their vision into the game, especially in its battles? It's still neat to see how the creators would separate themselves from the lazy, cheap, asset-reliant gutter trash some schmucks would be peddling out for cash. No Love presents itself really well. Any magic you perform, the animations, like the game itself, are unexpected, but wonderfully charming. Damage felt like a bit of a crapshoot, whether this is intentional or not, because when I do high damage, my neurons get activated. Taking on random encounters is like bodying a child, whilst going against a boss is like throwing everything at the enemy in the hopes that it does something. Some are pretty easy, whilst others will leave you looking like a snuff film, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We head into the next village, built into trees, called fucking Rhombusland or something. Right away, the first building we go into is the shopkeeper, and he's selling stuff because he and his boyfriend were having some intense bed-breaking intercourse that he fractured his hip. I'm surprised that there's still much of him still left. And since posting anything on GoFundMe would default you into being called a scammer, this will have to make do. As per usual, become a cat burglar and rob everyone of their medicine, experience, and wood, even though now we're surrounded by the stuff. Converse with some of the locals to learn a little more about themselves and exchange gossip. Even getting hints of the forest leaders dancing. Talk to Toby here to give off the fruits of your labor for more XP, and if you got the flowers, send them to the Hint Ghost. This time around, he was a little more helpful. We're told that this is the last place to purchase or use lockpicks anywhere, which brings us to a shack in the northwest, belonging to the forest leader. Before you do so, get 2 lockpicks as you will use them pretty quickly, break in, and what do we find? We find Lord Azrael himself nailed to a wall, an Animal Crossing character, and a dress. And inside the chest we find some useful shit, and pictures of the leader in a dress. Maybe the possible allusions of a Pornhub account? I don't know. Does anyone in this village have a computer? But then our path is blocked by this guy called Sean. Some lame gatekeeper working a 9-to-5, stopping us presumably because darkness is in there somewhere. So we head to the top path, and we meet someone there. Oh, you okay there? Ashley over here, like Ellie, is among those reliant on the good book, so let's invite her to the party. Which means that something is coming up where we may need to fall back on this new character we just met. You know what that means!
Back at the bus, Tony. Ashley needs the space. I don't care if she looked like she just walked off the set of Jackass. She's taking the seat.
We do a little treasure hunting in this little pocket of land, and even past the statue, there's even more shit to dig. Honestly, it does feel good when you can actually get something more worthwhile, but we seem to be in a sacred spot. A base of a mountain where the only direction to go is up. So let's go up. Wait, what? And then at the top of the mountain, who else could be waiting for us but sadness? I would say this is when the dialogue is at its lowest. I'm just watching some random figure who I only met about a couple seconds ago talk about their views and their past. It's nothing new or unfamiliar. A lot of the civilians and even our main characters did that sometimes, even though it's not as lore heavy or comfy as the camping scenes, or as funny, absurd, or occasionally foreshadowing like the civilians. That's not an issue for me, but here, it's strangely full of itself at points, and it tries to follow the line of relatable and enlightened, that it just comes off as unwanted and kinda cheap, when it was done so well previously. The first half is a sob story on life's cruelty and unfairness. The second half is a sob story about how in this dream, something about wood, there was a hospital, some Hallmark drama shit. Now we're at her place, I think. Steven Gilbert makes a cameo. There's a dead bird. At least it's true to being a dream, as in it makes no fucking sense. Is this shit amounting to anything? Maybe I'm reading this the wrong way, maybe not. This could be intentional for all I know to put you into a specific mood. I mean, I know who the fuck I'm looking at, but all of this comes off as extra. If there was a point to be made, it would have been lost on me. It's dumping so much that I'm not sure if Wallace Lovecraft was just having a bad day and needed to make a vent post on a twit longer, or he thought putting in this tirade was necessary to sound profound, but it didn't work for me. It's like I'm hearing Max Verstappen recite his childhood.
My dad did that once to a mechanic with a fork.
Except I actually feel bad for him. After that, we head back into the village, and Sean is nowhere to be seen. So let's take advantage of this. Sell your lockpicks, get some health, some mana, some new abilities, and okay, I've been pretty quiet with what I've been buying, and that's because for the longest time, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I was buying shit that made my stats go up, because that must mean something.
So, you finally arrived. What the hell are you wearing?
It's my ass-kicking outfit, bitch!
See, this is why you need to learn how to read. Items here are primarily going to be towards your normal attacks and defense, as well as magic attacks and defense. Items will sometimes increase your stats, decrease them, or do a bit of both. Example, you can do high magical damage, but your health is lowered by a little. It is if you want to make that trade-off. I always aim towards working on magical attacks and defenses, since those will be the ones that will do a lot more to the enemy. Especially if the enemy has some kind of magical bullshit that takes out your entire party in one turn. I shit you not. The only time I started to understand more of this was when I was at the halfway point of writing the script. So once you're done with everything, head down to the lower path and... Oh. Yeah, can you hang on for a second? Someone buried their inheritance here. We find a scared Timothy, who was supposed to be at a recital with the other kids. But can you take a guess who we find past that bloody... Yeah, A fucking blob! Something happened between the forest leader and Darkness, creating some kind of Pepto-Bismol mutant that kills off Sean and some random bitch. Keeping the other kids hostage. What else is there to do, apart from killing Darkness? How's Ashley throughout all this? She's alright. She has more health than anyone I got, so that's at least some level of security. This isn't a hard boss to do. He just has a lot of health and it takes a while. Ew. Hey, yeah, we just killed your forest leader, who was consumed by those shady hooded guys from Kingdom Hearts, and is completely unrecognizable. The kids are alive, don't know what happened to their parents, your leader probably ate them. You got an orphanage in this town? So we venture on and make camp. Ellie thanks Ashley for saving her. Aggro talks about his shit maxing to Tony and Ashley. We find out that Aggro is a struggling artist, unable to find any success from it, but is encouraged to keep going. I think he has a chance at it, just as long as he's not joining Twitter or DeviantArt. Tony loves the freedom of traveling, and Aggro vents about more of his girl problems, this time with someone called Julia, who was avoiding him. But the standout of all of this is Ashley, and it's because of what happens next. I can't tell if she's a closeted egoist or we got a glimpse of what God looks like. The next day, Agro starts rambling about his computer specs, how he got pranked by a femboy, and how he stopped playing anything modern with an EA or Ubisoft logo. At least he's smart about it.
Ah, fuck, I dropped my computer in the tar.
Christ, isn't 25 cents good enough for these folks? Looks like we just walked ourselves into a little fight between the mascot of meth and Shadow the Hedgehog? What, you don't believe me? Cue the tragic anime backstory. Since then, he's been plotting to destroy everything and drown it in darkness.
I am plunged into darkness and I'm confused.
Man, I hope no one lived here. I don't need to tell you what you gotta do. It's the part before the village, okay? You can put 2 and 2 together. All of a sudden, Ashley decides to opt out and head back to the village. The party wishes her the best and gives us a small Bible before taking off. Welcome to Stop Signville or something. They grow lean here. I had plenty of shit to sell, so I drained this lady of every special thing she had. Not only that, she dreams of becoming a tomboy knight with tan skin and muscles. So I wish her the best. There's this guy called Woody, and we have to guess how many things he shoved up his ass. Just guess until you get it right.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it. I can't stop winning!
Mary has a streaming career. There's fucking parasocial drama. Mike recites the downfall of his Street Fighter career. We do get hints of 2 gay guys in the forest. You're gonna see why that's important soon. And would you believe it? The hint ghost is actually helpful this time. Ride along the snake, you might snag yourself on a couple fights. But make it to the top, who do we find? The crystal himself! Orion, I want to crush you into little bits and smoke you. He's crying his life away knowing that he can't stop darkness. So why not invite him to the party? But who's there waiting for us? Fucking Team Rocket, of course! Yeah, same here. But instead of kidnapping Pokemon, they want to make our death become a reality.
You're in the shit, and I'm gonna come after you.
If you're going into this blind like I did, you would be hurting bad throughout this fight. My first go at this, it has taken me more tries than what I would like to admit, because I really need to pay attention to both the turns and the magic attacks used. Lance has this power called Gather the Fishes, which in 3 turns will carpet bomb you with fish if you don't do anything about it, which is already enough to get someone on an FBI watch list. He is public enemy number 1. I will take him down first. So how do you stop it? You need a magical attack with a thunder element. The attacks I know that do work are Ellie's spark shit and Orion's telebunny, which means Tony is once again sitting this one out. But wait, the attack is telegraphed. I usually wait a turn or 2 and then unleash either of the 2 onto Lance. In between that, I just use whatever attack. And Peter has burning sensation. It does damage, but I got health for days. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I genuinely kept on fucking up because I didn't stop the fishes from bombing the Middle East all over again. This was one where I had to take breaks, and it's not the last time this is going to happen. this point, I'm just doing community service. Where the fuck is my medal of bravery? Darkness is just within that mountain over there. Totally not ominous. Red Mountain over here is fucking massive. And navigating through here, you're just bound to run into something. Fuck around and find out. Get some free flowers for more cash. As well, and make some room for some world building. At some of these dead ends, there's dead bodies holding chests. It just makes you wonder what the hell was going on here and what these people were doing. Your way out is going to be through an archway, heading higher into the mountain, and we make camp before the big day. Lore time! Orion wants to stop Darkness to save his family, as well as everyone. Even as payback for killing some guy called Matthew, Orion is from Chrysalis, where everyone over there is on that hard rock candy, or they're underdeveloped. Tony and Gabe were from this world's equivalent of the Bible Belt, and left because fucked up things were going on over there. Aggro tells Ellie that he loves her, but the feelings aren't there, and gets friend-zoned. Don't feel too bad, Aggro. You did a lot more than what 90% of the internet has already done. As is the local pastime, Aggro goes on how some people have better luck than he does, and how he's fallen back to his loneliness. Unable to find someone, David, getting tired of his shit, professes his love to Aggro, trying to get in on that broke-back backshot mountain, but primarily just to make him feel happy. But it didn't work out.
You son of a horse and bitch. I wish I knew how to quit you.
The mood is frosty this morning, as we now decide to take on Darkness. There's only magic, health, and revival items, so it's best to cash in on some of that. Alright, let's get going.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
This world is imperfect.
What?
If only I could wipe away the impurities.
Is anybody else listening to
And
this?
make it as beautiful as me.
Like our main character, he's unable to feel a sense of love and belonging, like an emo kid on the verge of a breakdown. He's jump-starting a new world order, and he's not going to make it easy. Through some of that ancient black magic, brings up 4 more people to fight. 3 of them being Gabe, Lance, and Peter, resurrected into being femboys, I think? Having different names, and probably the most damning aspect of all, being British. I would draw the lines between them and Pyrocynical's fanbase, but none of them are underage, and one of them is some kind of ethereal god. You know what? I'll say it. Fuck this fight. Fuck this fucking fight! This is the very moment where the lines between difficulty and bullshit become smeared for me. If you're wondering why it took so long for me to get a video out, well, it's a lot of things, but it's also because of this. This is a fight that will make you bleed if you don't know what you're doing. I had to take long breaks because when I thought I was getting close, out of fucking nowhere, it goes... and kills me! Every time I lost, I ended up looking like Charles Leclerc after France 2022.
Now it's 0%.
And that's because there's a lot of factors to account for. Seeing that it has 3 people we've already fought before and 2 that are completely new, I had to take notes on this. Every effort there was always something. For the first turn I had Ellie leveled up and have this band-aid ability to restrain darkness, so you can put the hurt on him for a temporary bit of time. The same tactics that I used on Lance before, they're going to apply here. Lance, Daisy, no less insufferable. Literally the same person. If these spikes appear on your party, David has a rain ability to wash that away. If they appear on the enemy side, resort to normal attacks, not magic ones, as they do less damage, since the damage done will be reflected back to you. Or just go for the ones with no spikes. You can do that too, but you're hurting either way because then you're gonna go after them. I did have to switch Ellie out for Tony for a bit, but then back to Ellie, but I don't know if this is even mandatory. Body slam the darkness with my Taiwanese combination. Here I am drawing circles and lines like a crazy guy because it hurts to get up sometimes. But through whatever odds, through sheer stubbornness, I took all 5 of them down. I wish there was a more complete strategy to taking on this bunch, but I was just relieved that I got this over with. And going into every small detail would take too long, for a game that is longer than what I was expecting. Tony tries to talk to a reanimated Gabe called Sunflower, who's really all over the place. Oh. Yes. What? And we get a nice flip through the characters fighting, especially when David defeats Rose, or Peter, and Aggro confronts Darkness, who tries to get Aggro to join, but even if he joins, he's going to die anyway, so no dice. Well damn, it's like you didn't even fucking think about it! Darkness's rant feels very reminiscent of Sadness's bullshit from earlier, and goes Super Mario Bros. Z on his ass. Lance becomes a punching bag from 2015, gets killed, thank fuck, and everyone goes back to jumping on Darkness. Darkness tries to get Tony to join in, but is also pretty unsuccessful. And in the midst of all this, Aggro tries to kill himself. Ah, you'll be fine. Just put some Neosporin on it.
So everything is true. I believe time is yours. I can't say I will, but it's not absurd. Spaceships are flying. La la la.
It's unfortunate.
Darkness is dead, and so is David. This is where we split with Ellie and Orion as they tend to go back home. I think Wallace is also pretty elated now that Darkness is gone, because the art style is starting to have a stroke. But before they go, we're told of some powerful circle people that can bring back David. But it's been a while since Orion has last seen them. But they possess some impossible abilities, such as time travel. They're just past the next village at the peak of a mountain. Honestly, considering I just got done fighting Darkness, I thought that was it. So I was fucking surprised that there was still more to it. Anyway, we wish the two the best, and Aggro and Tony continue on into the Cotton Candy Desert. This place is fucking massive. I don't think I was able to find all the goodies, even though it's more health and mana. I did find Navi out there for some reason. But I did meet up with an old face. Sadness actually does a free tarot card reading, whilst telling stories of how he was put with this girl that his mother approves of, and of a project he's working on. I mean, same here. I'd say he's calmed down a lot more since our last encounter. He's actually more coherent here. Even though I don't know why he would be auditioning for the next poker night, I got the feeling he would suck. Is that a good sign or not? Oh! Well, if you can get closer to God by eating brains, why the fuck not? That's making someone out there really wet. Yeah, my geometry teacher. Look at those angles. This village has a lot going for it. It's got cattle, it's got a school, it's got kids running about, it's got a well. There's this Mickey Mouse character that acts as a mascot for the place, who strangely looks familiar. If this really is Disneyland, it just needs Goofy to touch me inappropriately and we're all set. The people here are easy to get, and that's because some are... Yeah, okay, Ralph the Movie Maker, I got your message about 936 words ago. They even got computer games here too. You can beat them in just a couple minutes to earn some XP, just by accessing both computers in the town. And all you need to do is get one of the endings from each game. And since then, these have become games you can buy on Steam. What? Why do you got this? Okay, if there's one thing I do have to put into question, it's pricing. This goes not only for No Love, but Kill the Dragon and Help Me as well. I'm not bringing up Holidays because I haven't played it. In Capitan's video, he mentions how he got his at a low price, and it was changed.
For some reason, when I bought the game on itch.io, I got it for $3, but when I checked it a few days later, it increased to $17. I don't know, maybe it was on sale or something, probably. I don't really pay attention to that stuff.
Maybe the price has always been this way. Maybe Kappa bought it on sale. Maybe this price is to accommodate the fact that this is a lot of game you are getting. A lot of work done by one person. And you gotta support indie devs when you can. But I'm gonna be real with you. $17 is stretching it a bit, in my eyes. It even feels like an odd number to land on, like it overshot its load or something. If it was like $12 or $10, it probably won't be as jarring. Now, I'm not here to single this one out when I know very well there are plenty of RPG Maker games that are arguably more guilty of the same thing, to a concerning extent, and for a first game, Wallace probably didn't know how to price it. I can't stress to you enough that this is a game worth your time. Don't get me wrong, but is it $17 good? As for Kill the Dragon and Help Me, I think these should have been $1, because really, there's not much to them. If anything, you can max out all the choices and endings of both games within a half hour, maybe even less. But that's my take on it. I'm just a gamer who's trying to be conscientious with money. You find a lady who lost her husband to a monster in the Sinful Caves, not far from here. And there's this other lady who lost her husband, but we met him before. I don't think the getting the milk excuse is going to work here, so why not help the both of them? God says it's too dangerous, but I've been binge watching a lot of George Carlin, so I should be prepared. I don't really have much to say about the Sinful Cave. I do get callbacks of Choco Mountain from a while back, and that's simply because some of the layout is just recognizable. There are these seeds that can either give you nothing, or some goop to sell, or give to the ghost. And some of these dead ends have little presents, left over by Santa Claus during his Desert Storm days. I don't know why this place is known as Sinful. It's honestly pretty vacant. Is it because this place has gay fairy lights? Is it because God hears the voices in the walls? Oh! Am I interrupting something? That's an angel? I guess if we're going for something more biblically accurate. Honestly, after that ball-breaking session that was the darkness fight, it's kinda nice to get into a boss battle and do it without losing your mind. The fight with the angel is actually pretty cozy. After getting a glimpse of the guy from earlier, the husband, actually still alive, tells us to stop as it's actually good? Okay, mind explaining that to this guy's wife, who got terrible head? Quite literally, and the angel flies off. We take the husband back home to his wife, we break the bad news to the other wife, and now we're the heroes of the village. By the way, I think this is a glitch. We need to get a cross for this anorexic bitch, and it's in the sandbox just north of the town, where the animals take shits and the kids eat shit. I got the cross after fighting the Lovecraftian lean monster, and now I can't give it back to her. So I just have this in my inventory. Mickey Mouse over here is impressed with our efforts, but we're on a mission to find some circle people. The folks at the gate won't let us pass unless we get God's approval. I guess it's just a paper that says, I approve.
I have it printed out.
Navigating through this valley is a bit confusing, with everything made of cough syrup and purple stuff, but it's not too hard to understand. There's gifts all over the place, and what you gotta do is find the path that leads up into the mountain. You'll know it when snow starts to appear. There's the pink circle character we've been seeing in some of these flashbacks, and flash forwards, and the good news is, she's familiar with Agro's condition. This is where the story becomes interesting. Eve talks about her people, the circle people, are these beings who can just live forever, or at least something close to it. But many of them became dead or were lost because a while ago, something came around, flashbanged everyone, and now they got time travel. They didn't understand what this power was capable of. It made them addicted, with some people never coming back, and others getting sick from their travels, leading to the population to drop over time, leaving behind Eve and the other one, Adam, as the only survivors. The two of them made a promise to never use the power. Seemingly immortal or long-living people with the ability of time travel, pretty much near extinction, par a few survivors. It turns out whatever aggro has, it's terminal. You know, time travel cancer. And the only cure for that is death. Ah, okay, the Jack Kevorkian approach, if you insist. It turns out you get this disease by repeated trips into the void, and maybe it has to do with his faulty memory. Then we come to the top of the mountain. There's crosses everywhere, houses that have decayed over time, and you also get XP from inspecting them. And it all just feels so lonely up here. I just need some Silent Hill music to feel right at home. What you'll be looking for is a giant building. You know, the Ice King's little man cave, but it's designed by insane people.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
And finally, after a series of Tarantino flashbacks, our characters finally meet Adam, and he seems to be pretty chill, if a bit stunted. But then Tony mentions darkness and causes Adam to crash out. Adam isn't really too bad. I have regulated myself to using normal attacks whenever I thought he was pulling out something that could have made my magic shit either bite me in the ass or do nothing at all. In actuality, I don't really know. He can pull a move to throw you off and can take out his love interest in a fucking heartbeat, but he's pretty easy to manage. If this game taught me anything, it's to expect nothing as it's more funnier that way.
You call this putting up a fight? You got what was coming for you. I'm gonna turn you inside out. Not as tough as they told me. I'm gonna beat the cellulites out of you. Listen here, I got this drum solo I've been working on. You wanted me back, so I'm back. Alright, the safe word is police brutality.
This shit's getting really out of hand, and I'm not sure what we should... Huh? Future Adam over here dukes it out with current Adam and decapitates him. Which in turn, does that mean... So we finally get access to the portal. Tony decides to head back to the previous village after losing his arm. We say goodbye to him, despite being regulated to the back so many times. In the meantime, let's talk about the music, because it's among the few things Wallace Lovecraft hasn't done. The choice of music is varied, and interesting in where they're placed. Some of them feel appropriate, others feel interesting, some are straight up preposterous, and one of them makes my ears bleed. I don't know what the process was for this soundtrack. I think Wallace Lovecraft just went into his playlist and picked out songs here and there and thought, oh yeah, this'll do nicely. But maybe I'm not the right guy to be doing that. I can't stand back and tell you which track is which because out of the list of artists on here, I only recognize one, and that's Home. Only because I listened to a lot of synthwave when I was younger. Especially track 17 from the Resting State. That one I distinctly remember because it sounded like a psychedelic steam train. We're now in shape limbo, and what I'll tell you now is to get a lot of health items, but don't use up all your money. Leave a little, because these next segments will eat up your health super quickly. You better save in this area, because past the point of no return, you can't save via the menu. Here, we do the trial to the heart, in which we are supposed to find 6 heart pieces. Sounds simple, yeah?
We'll take that.
This is the part of the game that I really hated. Now the game is essentially a matter of, do you have enough health items? As well, the moment you leave to collect the heart pieces, as I said before, you can only save when a little save spot shows up. It doesn't start off bad. The maze here is pretty easy to navigate, and some of the questions here aren't as hard. You fail a question, drink some health after, and do the next best choice. The only one I did screw up was the emo son bitch. After that, you walk up a path and talk to a part of aggro. To where you'll be transported to a void, tasked on collecting 3 heart pieces in one half of the map before collecting the other 3, and getting out of there. Okay then, what's stopping us from getting the pieces? Well, apart from saving in very specific spots, these ghosts will chase you around the map. The very moment you pick up a piece,
I'm Jesus! I'm descendant of God!
at least they're good sports about the whole thing. It doesn't sound like much of a problem. Well, up until the... This is where the gameplay starts to really grate for me. Throughout this key fetching quest, you would have to stop everything to fight Dark Link, or Dark Aggro, or Aggro during his gothic phase. This is the only enemy you have to fight throughout this whole trial, and it gets boring really quick. For starters, it's not a hard fight. Apart from Void Aggro having the first move, the strategy for me has mostly been boiled down to chipping away using normal attacks, and resorting to the Heart Shield if my health got low, as a means to conserve health items. Only using other magic items if I felt it necessary. Also getting Navi before the religious town, it really helps. And this enemy pops up a lot, to the point where whatever pace I had built up is now stopped in favor of some thematic confrontation. Even if you find a safe spot, just take FUCK! Some encounters you can escape, but most of the time you'll be forced to fight the voices in your head. So I just mentally locked myself into doing a lot of them. Apart from being an infinite money generator, it happens so much that they're no longer challenging. They feel cheap. They feel distracting. They feel like filler. It feels like grinding in GTA Online. That ain't fucking good. Going through a level that feels like the Red Mountain and the Sinful Cave from a while back, where you're following down paths and hoping that it leads you to a piece. I get this is strictly centered around aggro, but at the frequency of these fights, how you're only fighting one guy, and ghosts that'll give me COVID upon first touch, I just wanted a little more variety. Like, think about it. If the enemies didn't pop up so frequently, and there was something different about them, like we got to fight void variants of our friends, as well as aggro, and the layout was a bit more distinct and not so static, I wouldn't be so bitter about it. I get balancing in an RPG game isn't always ideal, and grinding to get a game right isn't always going to work out, but I refuse to call this anything really. I just don't like this place. In fact, the only challenge of this trial was simply getting it done. I was avoiding the ghosts as they were killing me constantly. Every step I took, I felt like I was going through a minefield at top speed, just to get whiplashed by an evil aggro, and get neutered by a ghost. Not helped by the burnout that I was having when I was recording this bit, to the point where I was just so over it. I felt I got nowhere, growing more and more weary, fearing that this is going to be another meat puppet situation, so much so, I had to bite the bullet and ask for help. From Wally himself. And would you believe it? He answered, with a guide. And the level design checks out. Even though it wasn't exactly what I asked for, I wasn't going to complain because it actually clarified something. I was skipping one heart piece. If there is one thing I can say, is that I cannot hate the guy himself. He's down to earth. Even when he's working on new projects, no matter how small his audience is for his games, he's taken the time to help out those who are having trouble with the game as well. That takes heart. That takes integrity and passion for one's craft that you just don't see anywhere else. So finally, after getting all the pieces of the Ninetales Chaos Dragon Balls, I was making a mad dash to the exit, reached a save, until... I'm not going to freak out, you finished the game, you're not getting attacked by Cenobites, take it easy, you already did it, be cool. At this point, I was straight up miserable. For a good moment, I thought I was in a loop, and that I would have to boot up a previous save and run the fucking maze all over again. Running from Ghost again, fighting my demons again. Any good praise I had sang for this game? Not here, fuckwad, this is bad country. I had to take breaks. Long breaks. And there was nothing so prominent going through my mind, apart from the words, get it done, get me out of here. I am reliving my college nights of grinding, which is a place I don't want to be at. But then it hit me. Why is it that some ghosts straight up insta-kill me in some runs, whilst others don't do anything? So I ran a past save, with full health, and I got hit by the ghost. And I came to the realization, the ghosts don't insta-kill you. But they do take away a lot of your health, just like all those characters you had to endure back in the maze. And because my ass was being beaten by Sasuke Uchina here, I just died. You think with this newfound knowledge I would lighten up and enjoy my reward, but no. I still stand by my issues with this level, and even the gameplay. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I can't help it because it's actually warranted. Navigation is samey and weak, the fights are repetitive and forcefully grindy, the objective is whatever, and because it's a lot of trial and error, the gameplay becomes really boring, and the music gets annoying really quick. And even when it's all said and done, it's a matter of if you were smart enough to get enough health items. After snorting heroin so fast that the demons have vanished, save, make sure you have full health, and run! Fuck this cock jockey of a level! Get me out of the Shadow Realm! After some backtracking, we make our way north to pick up David. Even though the exit is right there, you've got shops to get more health, mana, and even new powers. You really think it would be that easy, huh? Nah, we got one more thing to do before we get the fuck out of Dodge. Wally himself even said to stock up on health and loving revives. Oh shit, is that fucking aggro as a Cenobite? Yeah, before we go, we gotta kill this dimensional god that's been acting as a magic attack for us. And honestly, not as painful as I anticipated. I had to repeat this fight like once. By the way, here's a graph showing the difficulty of bosses in this game. Fucking Illuminati over here's got a bunch of swords that will take you out if nothing is done, so make sure you have that Rain, Heart Shield, and Worm Shield handy. Dimensional aggro, as I'll be calling him, tries to convince normal aggro to stay. but as we keep on fighting him, he starts to get more and more desperate, trying to make Aggro stay by gaslighting him to believe that David is a freak, harking back to when he was watching Aggro sleep and when he tried getting him on that gay shit. Also, the background starts to get faster and messier, the music starts to change, and of course, the hits become harder. So much so, you gotta start breaking out the revives. And I ain't talking about those little kids meals. I mean the really expensive stuff. The kind of shit that turns you into Superman, but really you're overdosing on cocaine. Also, I do kind of find it funny that we're fighting this powerful being, while at the same time, using that same powerful being to our benefit against himself. Dimensional Aggro has absolutely had it. Now he's starting to throw insults at us, calling us ungrateful because we don't want to be friends, and starts to take away some of our abilities. That's fine, I wasn't too attached to them. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna fight anything anymore. To help with our escape, the ghosts who were chasing us earlier start holding God back. Or they're just getting around for the world's biggest group hug, as Aggro and David pass through the portal. We're taken back before David saves Aggro from dying, only this time, it's vice versa, but not without getting some unexpected help. And from there, everything goes as it should. Crisis has been averted. David lives, Tony keeps his arm, and Aggro is the only one who has recollected everything that has happened to him in the past few minutes. No one around him has a fucking clue what he's talking about, because this time, it didn't happen. Yeah, have you ever watched a Doctor Who episode? With that out of the way, we decide to crash at the religious Disneyland. Oh shit, right! That guy we saved! He's fucking dead now! Oh well. Before heading out, he goes to speak to Eve about the whole portal thing, and of course, she's unaware of the whole thing, and we don't fight Adam, but he does break the news that we had to kill Darkness, and that she can still visit Darkness's pool, that fucking tar pit from earlier. We're told that David went to Neil Octenroth's city for a new job, which I just realized is Toronto in reverse. That's lame. Neil Laird-Nom is clearly better, since they got a racing circuit named after one of the best drivers to ever grace the planet, Vils Jilnerv. Tony decides to stay, as Aggro decides to check up on David. Apparently 1 month has passed, and David has been getting around by smooching off of his new boyfriend. just like that picture back there, whilst helping with the rent because he ain't no freeloader. Aggro questions this shit because it happened so fast, and wonders if he's gonna pull some American Psycho shit. But David doesn't think so. Meet Jace, David's new boyfriend. He doesn't say anything or do much, so don't get too attached to him. In fact, don't get too attached to any of the new characters coming up in what is essentially the game's epilogue. It would have been pretty neat if we had the whole crew in one shot. Aggro, David, Ellie, Tony, Orion, Ashley, Jace if he fucking does something, but this game isn't really on that kind of fan service. Aggro tells David about how he went to Geometry Hell to save him, and David wants to believe him, but it just comes off as fucking absurd. Oh, by the way, his trip to the Shadow Realm made his condition much, much worse. As well, Aggro decides to spend the last days of his life working on a project of some kind. What is it exactly? A game? A video? I don't know. Is it an Easter egg of some kind? But at this point, Aggro is content with his upcoming death, knowing there is nothing that he can do to stop it, just enjoying it as it is. Because he already found the cure. David tries to organize some things for Aggro before he dies, such as getting together with friends, which he does do, and to set him up with a date, which given that it's Aggro, you can expect something cringy to come up. I don't know why we gotta do it in front of SpongeBob, Squidward, and Patrick's houses, but whatever. Because what the fuck is an epilogue without the main character taking something simple and blowing it way out of proportion? You're just realizing this now? Aggro is starting to feel like the Eraserhead baby. David offers to save him, but he left a nice little gift on his desktop, where all the answers should be. He tells David the heartwarming notion to enjoy life, and thanks Jace for letting him stay, when all he wanted to do was to make things positive. Oh god, the apartment is going to smell.
It's unfortunate.
And that is No Love. Apart from a nice ass shot and the simple credits, we're also shown of Aggro hanging out with everyone and enjoying his time. I feel like I'm about to get jump scared here.
Brew! Gotcha. Scared you. Scared you.
It's kinda funny finishing this game that I'm relieved that I got this done, but as well, it brings up that magical feeling of not wanting it to end. A very rare feeling for me. Kinda like you just got done completing Cowboy Bebop. And that just shows the quality that No Love carries. For being someone's first game, who had to build up almost all of it from the artwork to the writing to the functionality, this is fascinating. And all of this is coming from a guy who simply wanted to make his own game because no one was ever going to make that kind of game. It makes it a lot more personal, a bit more unique, despite it being founded on one of the most archaic game makers out there. But honestly, that's why people love RPG Maker games. And I still stand with what I said about this game being alongside some of the greats, because I think it earns it. The world it brings is special to itself. Its characters have their own personality, the lore is present but mysterious, and everything just feels so lively and charming, whilst coming with its own set of teeth. It fills my damaged soul with dopamine. I'd argue it's among those obscure games that are worth your time, despite this video spoiling everything. But is it even that much of a spoil if no one talks about it? It does leave me with some questions. Are these future humans? What is Darkness's real name? Does Aggro ever question why he's being worshipped? How does everyone here have sex? Is it like one of those Minecraft animations? It does leave some to wonder why this never caught on, but honestly, that's pretty much rhetorical. Along with a very general name that wouldn't bring the game up, unless you are hyper-specific, this game wasn't really pushed out there. There was a demo for people to try and some trailers, and that's it. This game wasn't sent to YouTubers or anyone popular to show it off to more people, and I think that's because of the hype that comes with it. Sure, that means more attention, more coverage, more fans, and a big confidence boost for Wallace Lovecraft. On the flip side, there would be a lot of pressure and a complete crash out if it becomes too much. I mean, that's my theory on it, but really, it's because society is fucking retarded! You always have these folks pop up in your feed when you don't want them to. You know the type, the phony professional trying to be the fucking oracle of brilliance, telling everyone gaming's dead and all that gay shit. Title it the most foreboding and the stupidest shit out there, and yet you got me and a few others over here digging our lives away, finding some modern gems. Games that these people always overlook, because they're always focused on being depressed and being set in it. Who the fuck are you trying to impress here? You come out with this limp dick of a video, you put me to sleep, and I'm supposed to take you seriously? It's the biggest turnoff imaginable! For shame! Any first project is not going to be exactly ideal. Lest you really pay attention to the text and to what you are doing, you're going to get lost or stuck a lot. And to add on to that, some of the dialogue can go on for far too long, and you probably won't be able to tell if what is going on is important or not. Some of the level design feels recycled, it can get a bit grindy. Difficulty feels weird, from being piss easy to decently challenging to fucking obscene in no order whatsoever. That void trial can fuck right off, and also the visuals. Now I love the visuals. I love the art style. It actually uses the saturated colors to its benefit, and it feels established and natural in this world, rather than to attract preteens for cheap clicks. But for some, it can push people away for how garish and bright the colors are, and I get that. Or maybe it puts some people off because they're shallow, they're stubborn, they're annoying, they're unfunny. They run under this retarded mentality that whatever is modern is bad, and that whatever is old is good. It was always good, yeah? They make their whole personality around it, and if you were to think differently or even be reasonable, there is very little room for compromise. I know you're fucking watching this, and if you can't take it on the chin, start taking it now. I do hold admiration for this game, not just because it's good, but because this game feels human. That personal touch is what really highlights this game. The characters are familiar and relatable. The emotions are there front and center. Conversations are grounded and dorky, but in a good way. It is a journey where people can just join and leave at any time. The themes and topics are rough, but also cozy and also pretty funny. It's a game with an identity. I can dig games that carry an identity with them. I mean, it's a game that is thematically centered around love, a very human emotion, but also around joy, belonging, and life at certain points, and it's pretty admirable. You don't have to rely on romance in order to be happy or to not be lonely. If there is something you are passionate about, like a hobby, then you're experiencing love for something you really like doing. And even hanging out with friends, try to find some time to hang out with them because you need that, you deserve that, and embrace that, because some friendships don't last long. Enjoy your life while you still can. I know I either missed something or downplayed it, and that's what I kinda do. I do jokes and explain shit whilst having sleeping problems. That's the kind of thing I got going on this channel. Given this next game that he got listed, I'm sure Wallace Lovecraft is going to be taking his time with it. So, how's Meat Puppet coming along? I'll see you all in a bit.